Tuesday morning here on the west coast of the United States. To everybody, welcome to another regular meeting of the Hyperledger Special Interest Group in Media and Entertainment. For those of you who aren't aware of the group, the name pretty much speaks for itself. We're one of the multiple special interest groups associated with Hyperledger, specifically as it relates to some of the challenges facing media in the broadest sense, all the way from social networking and, let's say, journalism out to the other end of the spectrum, which is entertainment, which, as you can imagine, includes related challenges vis-a-vis piracy, intellectual property, copyright, and so forth. But today, I'm at UCLA myself, so occasionally topics float to the top relating to higher education specifically, and how we can actually promote and disseminate and teach some of the technology that we're interested in. So on that score, and as a consequence of some recent conversations we've had here at Hyperledger, I'm very lucky to have as our special guest today, for a very loosely defined chat, Dr. Ali Emdad, who currently is Associate Dean at the Earl G School of Business and Management at Morgan State University. So expanding that context a little bit, that means we're talking about the teaching and the success stories in HBCUs, or historically Black colleges and universities. So welcome to Dr./Dean Emdad.
Thank you. Thank you, David. And whenever we're ready, we can get started.
That's fantastic. For those of you who know, IBM makes very broad and consequential use of Hyperledger technology for their blockchain platform. So I've put in the chat a couple of links which connect to the recent collaboration with HBCUs and IBM on blockchain and wider technological initiatives. So that might make for some interesting reading, and it might prompt some questions. And when it comes to questions, please feel free to ask them either here on Zoom, where we currently are, or on the live stream at YouTube. And we will harvest those questions and pose them as and when they pop up. So first things first, Dr. Emdad, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be in your current academic position.
Sure. Well, I was working. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk and present and discuss what the HBCU community is doing currently in the fintech space. I wanted to start by saying that I started my career in the corporate side many years ago at the Kennecott Corporation, and which has to do with copper mining and mining in general around the globe. But I got interested in the academic side, and based on my encouragement from my dissertation advisor at Case Western Reserve University, I moved to the academic side, and the rest is, so to speak, is history. I received my PhD from Case Western Reserve, taught at a few different universities, including Penn State. When I came to Morgan, to create the Department of Information Systems, and then build that program. And then later on, I became the associate dean of the business school, and that leads me to the creation of the Center for the Study of Blockchain and Financial Technology, or FinTech. We call it the FinTech Center. In 2016, 2017 timeframe, we noticed a lot of interest from students meeting informally around the campus at Morgan and talking about cryptocurrencies. Interest was bubbling up from the student side. And and then we decided that we need to do something more constructive, more organized kind of event forum to bring the students into in touch with some of the digital asset community and crypto economics folks. So we organized the first panel discussion, a national panel discussion. We invited Matthew Green, who was on the development team for Zcash, and he came over and he talked as part of that panel discussion. And we noticed the blockchain club was being formed by the students at that point. So we became really interested in developing our offerings on campus. So we offered the first course on blockchain at any HBCUs, any historically Black colleges and universities around the country. There are 105 HBCUs in total. So we showed that there is a lot of potential in this space. And we wanted to be proactively pursuing the discipline and be in the forefront of the development or developments in this space. At that point, we created in 2018 the center, the FinTech Center, and in 2019 we received funding from Ripple. Ripple was funding a number of universities around the world, and these were all leading universities: Princeton, Cornell, UT, Texas, University of Texas at Austin, and many other universities around the world were part of this initiative that Ripple had. We were fortunate to be one of those universities to receive funding that supported our center. And as part of our mission, I think I would like to share my my slides that would make it a little bit easier to follow what the course of development was. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. So we created the center. One of our missions objectives was to not only serve the university, Morgan State University, but we wanted to provide impactful service to promote learning and development of blockchain, understanding of blockchain and fintech at all HBCUs, not just at Morgan. So we became the hub for activities around the country. We provided services to other HBCUs as well. In terms of curriculum initiatives, we thought that the center should have education, research, outreach activities, and on the education side, we focused on developing the so-called train the trainer kind of approach of developing the faculty first. In 2019, we, through a very sort of competitive process, we brought in 45 faculty from 30 HBCUs over a 3-day period to New Orleans. And we had support from Duke Law and University of Michigan and UC Berkeley. The faculty from these universities came to New Orleans, And we had a very productive 3 days. Collaborative environments encourage development and encourage sharing of ideas. And that's what the goal was. And we had, after we finished the institute that we had in New Orleans, the faculty actually left with the syllabi for courses related to blockchain, modification of existing courses, and a few of them actually had started developing new courses, and they finished it up at the institute. So that was one of the activities. This slide shows the number of HBCUs that we started with. Right now, the number is approaching 60. Back then it was 34, but now it's about 60 different HBCUs that are part of our network that receive support and participate in our events and services. The research initiative that we had at the center has continued over the years, and we provide competitive research grant opportunities to the faculty, not only at Morgan, but also at other universities. And close to 24 research papers have come out of these efforts, and many of them have been published already. We provide seed funding for grants. Again, these are small grants. These are not huge grants, but we call it incentive for the faculty to get engaged in this space. Innovation grants are another type of support that we provide because during the pandemic, we moved all of our activities, like many other universities, to the virtual environment. And we encourage the faculty at HBCUs to be creative in providing learning opportunities for their own faculty on their campuses. And we provided some funding on that. And as a result of that, there were several interesting projects that resulted in that, including podcasts and development of some use cases. For instance, in the West Indies, we had some activities related to supply chain on a tiny island. That was a case in agriculture. The activities, every year we have a conference that brings together all of the researchers and people that were part of our activities and developed different projects. They make the presentation at a conference that we have in November. This year it's also in November, a Thursday and a Friday. In November, I think it's 12th and 13th of November this year. And that 2-day conference brings a lot of people together, 200-300 from different HBCUs. Faculty are typically interested in that because it's an academic conference, and it's something that the professors are interested in participating. So in the conference, we do the presentations of research findings and what projects they have been involved in. There are virtual expo rooms available for our sponsors, interactive panel discussions, and so on and so forth. we also did a number of things in support of our students, seminars, podcasts, social media campaign to attract members. We supported the students in providing the technical support if they needed, logistical support when before the pandemic, when they wanted to have events on campus. And after the pandemic, we helped them with speakers, and they even, I think, David Boswell was kind enough to help them with some of the events that they had. In terms of some experiential learning activities, we wanted to make sure that our students get involved in something very innovative. And when the former CEO of Binance US was willing to support us by providing actual funding in the students' wallets, we went with the idea of creating a crypto challenge, and we called it the HBCU Students Battle for the Cryptos. And through that process, we were able to bring in the first competition, we had a smaller number of students, but in the second one, we had almost 100 came to the event. And although the numbers at the end were not as high, they were close to 40 or 50, but the learning that took place was fantastic. Catherine Coley, who was the CEO at that time, was gracious to come to different meetings. These are all virtual, and actually answered questions when the students were talking about their, how to form their portfolios in crypto funds. How do they, what sort of system should they use, and what sort of the ups and downs of using one compared to another. Learning how to use and maneuver through an exchange it was very, very beneficial to the students. So the result of all of this was that our students became really well versed in the crypto environment, and it showed that we can actually be creative in that. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the only competition that actually used real funds, not simulation. We plan to expand our activities, and I'm going through all of these slides a little bit faster so that we have time for Q&A. But some of the things that we want to do is, for instance, in the area of what are the needs of the unbanked and underbanked communities. When it comes to FinTech, we find out that there are a lot of potentials. How can we make that happen? What sort of things can we do in terms of research, education, and outreach to make that possible? What is our role as the FinTech Center and also as a university in that space? We continue offering our immersive workshops, boot camps, and other learning opportunities for our students and faculty and staff. And we want to also build a sustainable partnership with various FinTech, financial companies, government agencies, and others who are interested in working with us and moving our goals forward. So at this point, I want to stop and see if there are any questions I can answer. I want to say that this is a growing area, and there are so many different aspects of it that we can focus on. The university environment or the higher education environment, as maybe Jeff can talk to that from the IBM perspective. But the university environment moves slowly in adopting change. And we wanted, the whole purpose of this FinTech Center was to be able to put new material in front of our faculty, students, and staff as soon as possible and get them interested in learning and integrating and incorporating into their courses and their curriculum. So that was the intention from the start. We continue to pursue that. We find challenges, but we find also some supportive groups, including Hyperledger and the Linux Foundation, that have been really fantastic in bringing us new ideas and new materials that we can share with our community.
That's great. That's a really rich introduction. Do we have any questions at this point? Please feel free to unmute yourself. If not, I have a couple of leading questions myself that will continue the chat.
Yes, I do. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yes. My name is Malik Armstead. I'm an alumnus of Morehouse College. And I've recently been in touch with Professor Juliet Elu, the head of the business department there. And I recently had a big speech presentation to the incoming class, freshmen and sophomores, just a few weeks ago. And we concluded that we wanted to start an online club sometime this fall. So I would love to know how could potentially collaborate, or you guys could support us in launching cryptocurrency club at Morehouse College.
Yeah, thank you, Malik, for that question. Let me say that we have actually supported Professor Elu on a paper that she submitted last year to our research group for funding and for support, and we did that last year. She is a great person to work with, and we would be very happy to connect with you. So feel free to email me. My first name, ali.emdad, emdad@morgan.edu. And I'll be happy to connect you with the team at the FinTech Center, and they can help you in any way possible. Our goal is to help students and situations like this. When you want to get started, we can connect you with our club, the blockchain club. It's, by the way, when we started, it was only a few people that were showing interest in it. Now we have close to, I believe I was told that about 60 students have joined the club, and they're actively pursuing different, the president just got a job with T. Rowe Price and left. But we have, that's the nature of the student organizations. New leadership is going to come in and move the goals forward. So feel free to contact us.
Thank you, and I will. And I saw that you guys have that the Battle of the Cryptos Club. I did discover that online, and I think it would be a great incentive by starting a club in the fall, in preparation, trying to put a team together from Morehouse to come in and try to take the lead or win
Sure,
the top places in the
absolutely,
2022 spring. So thank you very much, and I definitely will be in touch.
absolutely.
Hi, so hi, Dr. Emdad. This is Michael Chang from University of Illinois at Springfield. Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So it's so exciting that I have a chance to join your talk, and then here in in Midwest, and then so it's very exciting that to know that you are so fast in terms of catching up the speed of the blockchain along with the Hyperledger communities. And here I'm teaching MIS and innovation courses. And then here I'm probably the first if I'm try to incorporate blockchain material into my teaching. For example, this semester I'm teaching systems analysis and design, which is an important MIS course. And then and I'm hoping to incorporate blockchain into my teaching. However, there doesn't seem to be any textbook or ready material available. So I end up I'm sorry, I hope you can see me, but my camera just act up. Okay, so
that's all right.
I'm sorry that you cannot see me. And then so I end up with trying to find some inspirations from Hyperledger community or any other schools like you try to get some inspiration to develop teaching materials as well. Try to find use cases, examples, that can train student to know about the tenets of systems and design. And then and also I'm now working on the new research agenda regarding the different kind of a digital asset, or here now the Dr. McFadden is an expert for applying the digital currencies into entertainment, culture, or show business and so forth. And so I see there's a great potential to explore the potential of the permissioned chains and also the NFT, non-fungible tokens, try to explore the opportunities as well. So here, since, here we are a little bit, lagging behind. And so I'm just wondering if I have an opportunity to join your group and then to exchange materials or exchange research agendas, even to collaborate with you or with your faculty, for research. So if I have a chance, I'll be great to appreciate it.
Sure. Michael, if you check the chat, you see my email. I'll be happy to connect you and share some materials with you. But also see the chat, and I believe David must have posted this or someone else at Hyperledger, that there are several areas in the Hyperledger site that you can actually access a lot of information.
Yes.
But in addition to that, for a specific topics, the FinTech Center has created an area. We can share that with you. For instance, there is a legal aspect, there is a financial aspect, there is a technical aspect, what languages, what coding, what all of these things, articles related to these are available that we will be happy to share with you. So just email me and we'll connect you with some of these resources. And please make sure that you visit the links that are posted in the chat.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. And thank you so much for your generosity. And then I appreciate, to enjoy the opportunity to work with you and with Morgan and also with your faculty members. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Sure. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Michael. We've got 3 contact possibilities already in the chat, if that helps you to reach out afterwards. I put my email there. We have Ali's and also Judith, who's the program coordinator at Morgan in the FinTech Center. So depending on your needs and your desires, please feel free to reach out to any of us. We have here a question from Eugene, who I'm presuming is a student. Eugene, maybe you could say where you are, because that might help to answer your question, which is how to join this student club.
Fantastic.
So I'm guessing that Eugene is a student.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. And then, David, I have sent you an email a while ago, and then thank you so much for your nice word. And then, it's a breeze. I really feel excited to connect with you again. And then so here, in Midwest, I'm trying to start from the ground up and then build materials, hire students to join the project and then explore, research project and then to co-authors in particular, to publish. Thank you so much for to connect me to the wonderful world. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Let's presume that Eugene is, let's put it this way, in a broader sense, how does any student at an HBCU get into one of your clubs? Do they need to form a club first on their own campus, or can they join from any physical location?
Well, the events that our club at Morgan offers, the events are open to other HBCU students. Okay, and we a lot of times through the FinTech Center, either Judy or Tainisa, one of the 2 program coordinators would actually reach out to other universities to participate in the club activities. If you have a speaker, we try to make it as widespread, the information reach as widespread as possible. But we also encourage each campus to develop its own club because we want it to be sustainable. And when you have student leaders on each campus promoting and encouraging other students to join and learn about fintech and blockchain and crypto and all forms of digital assets, and understanding what not just the technical side, but also the softer side or the legal, regulatory aspects and things that are really going to push them in front of some of the other students in the job market to compete and be able to contribute to their company. So we really encourage the campus leaders. We have campus champions at various universities, HBCUs, and through them, we reach out to the students a lot of times directly. We have students in our databases, but we ask our colleagues at other universities to encourage their students to get involved and form clubs. And we provide any support that we can to make it a successful launch.
One of the things I'd like to come out of this conversation is for more people to reach out to you and actually be involved. So we've just had Judith posting a useful link for both instructors and students regarding an upcoming educational video competition. So obviously, no matter which HBCU campus you happen to be at or affiliated with, that's a competition in which you can take part. So before I get to some concrete questions about what kind of people would be your best collaborators, either intellectually or professionally, could you say a little bit about your long-standing work with IBM, considering that this is a Hyperledger get-together? How has that teamwork shaped up?
Part of your what you were saying, part of it got lost. I think we couldn't hear it. If you don't mind repeating. You can't hear.
How's that?
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. So my basic question was, before I ask about who your best partners might be for
Okay.
future collaboration. Yeah. Before I get to that, one foundational question might be, how has work been with IBM, and how has that helped you, and how has it helped your students?
Well, I would answer the first part. The collaborators, we've reached out to various members of the Hyperledger community when we started talking about the NFT, for instance. NFT, developing, understanding, and presenting the latest developments to our community, to all the HBCU faculty and students. We thought about reaching out to the group from the Hyperledger community that has an interest in the education side, presenting and explaining the technical materials to the faculty and students. Okay, that's one side of it. On the development side, we would love to have some discussions with the community, Hyperledger community members, developers, for instance, in developing apps. And these apps, we started with working with University of the Virgin Islands, for instance, on an agriculture, food insecurity, and food distribution, and so on and so forth. An app that would address the needs of the farmers, the supply chain, all through from the growing, from the seed all the way to the shelf, so to speak, but on the island, within that ecosystem, to develop an app that would help that community, for instance. We're working with a developer right now on that. But there are other use cases that we want to explore, and we want to be able to create the use case so that we can share with the HBCU community, the faculty that want to take those use cases to their classrooms, and they want to put them in front of the students. Maybe the students can follow and use those as models that they can build some new ones. So NFT right now is top of mind. A lot of people are interested in learning about it. So creating tokens, understanding, explaining the NFT environment would be another area that people, again, from the Hyperledger community are interested in that. In terms of working with IBM directly in any of these, we haven't done any, and it doesn't mean that we will not do any collaborative work. There are some opportunities that IBM opened up to all HBCUs, and Morgan is part of that group, and we're hoping that we can have some further discussions on the specific projects that we can get involved in. Although IBM, as Jeff said, there are skill building kind of workshops and courses that they offer, and we have opened those, actually recommended those to our network of HBCUs, that they should participate, because learning is learning. You have to show interest, and you have to participate. So those are the kind of things that we're hoping that we can continue and we can expand in the future.
Yeah, so I slightly misunderstood on the IBM score. I saw the report that they put out quite recently saying that they're working extensively with HBCUs and on blockchain. So I presumed that maybe they were working with you personally. Jeff, did you want to say something about IBM's work in this general area?
Well, there's several aspects of the word work here. Within our global university programs, we run 8 different courses free for transferring technology from IBM to professors, but then go on and teach the courses. And we provide all the material and even the online exams and so forth. One of those is blockchain, of those 8 courses. And I put a link in earlier about that. Also within our global university programs group, we have a group of 3 people focused on HBCUs, which includes access to free software downloads and cloud offerings. And I think this last summer, do you know the name Derek Warren, Ali? Does that ring a bell, from Southern University?
Derek Warren.
He was the dean across, I think, all 7 of their campuses, and he asked us to run some classes just for people in Southern, just so the remote learning environment would be more collegial because everybody already knew each other. I know you mentioned, somebody mentioned the chat Southern, so I thought I would bring that up. I mean, you know, there's a lot of effort IBM has within blockchain on the commercial side, and that's also why it's one of the 8 areas that we emphasize in our global university programs department. You know, remember that IBM is a large company, so there may be people working with universities on blockchain. There may be people working with universities with HBCUs. Both of those are true. Now, whether anybody's intersected that, like Ali has, and is capturing on the Venn diagram the group of HBCUs interested in blockchain, I don't know, but I will certainly follow up on it.
Ali, I think one question that needs to be asked at some point is, what do your students want? What are their career plans? Because obviously when you're speaking about such a broadly applicable technology, like either like Hyperledger, or you mentioned that crypto was the original sort of spark of inspiration. If people are interested in being mentors or even guest speakers, what do you think they need to know about the long-term professional goals of your student body?
Well, the students, whether at Morgan or at other HBCUs, have repeatedly asked for material that they can understand and learn, something that would give them a general understanding, so that they may not be coders, they may not be developers, but they have to really understand what this technology brings to the table, what it offers, and understanding of that is the most fundamental thing that we can do to make them knowledgeable, not necessarily programmer of some sort, but knowledgeable when we talk about the different areas of the space, from blockchain to NFTs or use cases. They are familiar with it. When we say smart contract, they understand what it is and what it brings. Who are the major players in these areas, and what are they known for, and what is the company, for instance, contribution to this area. So these are gradually they build on top of this, and they may go into the marketing aspect of it. They may go into the development aspect of it, the technical computer science and IS and IT and engineers will find their own niche, and the more business types find their own. The ones that are more centered on the economic theory, they may find their own tokenization and why and how and all of that. So it is the understanding the general. If one thing that we can do when students at HBCUs leave, or at any university. I always say that it's, how long did it take for object orientation to become known and accepted, or 4GLs, I'm dating myself on some of these things, but to become accepted for many, many, many years. We focused on hierarchical models, for instance. How long did it take from the change from one language to another? Now there's so many different languages that your students are faced with, and learning on all of these impossible. But if you give them the fundamentals, if you give them build it on a solid foundation that they understand it, then they become more interested later on when they are working at a JP Morgan Chase or at Bank of America or some other. I'm mentioning these because some of them are on campus visiting regularly and wanting students with these kind of backgrounds.
Do we have any more questions at this point from anybody?
The LinkedIn search right now, you see how many jobs are mentioning blockchain they're looking for. So, we're talking about all of these things are so changing so fast. But we want to be able to react quickly to these, understand it, digest it, make it available to the higher education community. A segment of that is the HBCU, and we focus on those.
Great. It sounds like we have at least a couple of questions waiting for you. So who'd like to go first?
I can go.
That'd be great.
All right. So I'm Chitavi. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I have a comment and a question. So the comment is just basically to say thank you for the work you're doing and the ideas and just getting this center set up and really moving towards the HBCUs, and specifically for the space of the minority and the unbanked. Mm-hmm. So the unbanked's a big space. We've been looking at this for the last 7 years, particularly in the US, but comparatively with a global view of what others were doing in terms of unbanked and what can be done to advance the economics of the unbanked. And we're doing this through Chicago State. And we're doing it with our bare hands and all alone outside in the rain and cold. So it's nice to see that the other people thinking about the same things and doing something about it. Mm. So thank you. But then the question I have is related to the sandbox. The CFTC sandbox. And that's where I found this conference through the director there. She posted it on LinkedIn. And I wanted to just find out if you are doing anything in the sandbox or if you're planning to do anything in the sandbox.
We're opening all possibilities to our the member universities, and we support them. If you are at an HBCU and you have an idea and you want to work with it, we want to support you. We want to review and see what sort of impact it's going to have, and we encourage that. Right now, we're working with this company. It's a company that develops, that is supporting us exactly with that, a sandbox environment that we're testing the use case in agriculture. So the PI in that project was needing some assistance. So we were able to connect them with the company that provides the technical assistance and help with the development process. We are now all of us, the FinTech Center is part of that development, and we're working on a proof of concept for that use case that we're hoping that within the next few months, it's going to be ready. So contact me if you have any ideas. We can talk and see how we can help.
Thank you, sir.
Did I hear a second voice about to ask a question? Is there somebody with another question for us? No, must have been cross lines. What, if somebody would like to help, it would appear that institutionally you use the term mentor. So obviously we have a guest speaker, but the next stage of commitment or involvement might be somebody being a mentor. Could you just explain that term a little bit and what it requires in terms of time or effort if people are interested?
The mentoring has different layers. Mentoring, again, it's all dependent on the mentor's time and availability and the area of expertise. We have mentors in the academic environment, from UC Berkeley to Duke to Michigan. We went in a partnership with them to ask them to be mentors to our faculty when they want to develop courses, because these individuals had already developed courses and workshops, and they were familiar with the ups and downs and do's and don'ts. So we in the practitioner community, I think the mentors can help the student projects. They can mentor the faculty that are working on specific projects and assist them, guide them, direct them in the right direction if they get stuck somewhere, and even having maybe once or twice a semester. University calendars on a semester, and if we say that once or twice in the beginning, in the middle, and toward the end of the semester, some touch points where the faculty has a mentor that they can feel comfortable discussing an ongoing project with them and get some ideas. If we can make a list of the mentors available to our community with their expertise, sort of a database of mentors and their expertise and their availability can be enormously helpful to us.
That's really useful. I think my final question today loops back to the raison d'etre of this whole group. Could you just say a word or two about your students or faculty who have specific interest in media and entertainment?
I think you'll find that David, you and I started talking about this because of the interest that we had. We have, I think Judy mentioned it in the chat, that we have a competition right now as an example that there is interest in the media aspect of things, especially at least in this respect, the social media, and how we can use the video as a medium for communicating an idea in a short burst. In 60 seconds, can you explain a concept related to fintech or blockchain? Can you explain it so that other fellow students quickly can grasp it and use this medium, the video, and put it in the social media context? So there is, on a practical level, that's what the interest is. And we know that there is interest in learning and being involved. Now, as an industry, of course, with all of these developments that we hear about NFTs and understanding what what aspect of the NFTs that they should focus on, what sort of things they need to learn in order to be more prepared to join that community, the developer community. So all of these things are important to us, and from our contacts, from the meetings that we've had with the champions at different sessions that we've had with them at different universities, they express the same thing. They want the students to be knowledgeable in these areas, and if we can connect with the community that you're involved, you're chairing this special interest group, it would be fantastic. It would be very, very helpful for the students to learn and be involved and enjoy that network that you have created, so that they can benefit from the knowledge and expertise of that community.
Actually, just as I was about to say thank you and goodbye, Jim Sinclair here in the chat jumped on with a very final and an important question, which is there any established pipeline to recruit these students? So once they finish their studies, how do you go about actually advertising their skill set?
Okay.
Or conversely, how much
Yes.
how much have you been contacted by industry to take those students?
Yes, it is a great question, and something that has been top of mind for us. And we're creating a database. Our sponsors have come to us and they say, do you have any students? Do you have any, can you share their resumes? Can you refer some of your students to us? And that's something that we're creating, a database of all HBCUs, collecting the information and making them available to the sponsors for the conference this year in November. So that's something in the works. And again, there may be other sources where students can post their resumes and get jobs and internships. But having that cross section, as Jeff said, it's like a Venn diagram. You bring in all of these different areas, and then at the core is going to be the HBCU students interested in fintech and blockchain and all related areas. And if we present that to the community, I'm sure that they're going to have a rich source to recruit from.
Well, on that very optimistic note, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to everybody who asked the questions, and an equal note of gratitude to everybody who turned up. So with that, Ali, thank you very much again for your time and explanation of what's going on across the HBCU network. Please feel free to jump on to any email you saw in the chat. So I think that was Ali and Judith, the program coordinator, and myself and Jeff as well, very generously from IBM, and we can get this whole thing moving with greater speed and proficiency. So thanks again to everybody, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.